Welcome back to another Tech Core Duo video, and for today I'd like to talk about iCloud Drive and Google Drive. So right off the bat, on the left hand here I have a Google Drive on my personal account, and on the right hand side I have my iCloud Drive. Now, one of the first things that you'll notice is on...
Better them than me.
That would be Homer Simpson. Thank you, Homer. Tapped out. You guys know I like playing that. So if you right click on iCloud Drive, on Google Drive, you actually have a menu when you right click on a file or a document. When it comes to iCloud Drive, you can't right click on a document. All you get is just a standard web browser response to inspect an element, or copy and paste, or do something with the web browser. You're not actually interacting with iCloud Drive. The second kind of most standard thing that I could think of is a search bar. Okay, so in Drive I can search for, let's say for instance, like an order, supply ordering, and I actually get live like search queries. iCloud Drive, the closest thing that you can come to in search is, if you type F, it'll find you the first document with the letter F in it. And that's just so primitive. I get that that's a search, kind of like a search, but 2017, you should be able to do a little more than that when it comes to search. Second, having the option of going to icon view or list view. How am I not able to see anything in list view on iCloud Drive? It doesn't make any sense. Why do I have to look at everything in icons? What if I need a list view to kind of scroll through things quickly? And that, it's not just this window. If I go into any other desktop, that exact same thing happens. It's so bizarre. So such a big disconnect between the two worlds. When it comes to document sharing, all I have to do is right click on this. I can share it with a shareable link. I can move it to a folder. I can rename it. I can view versions. I can make a copy. I can download it. I can do essentially anything I want. I can preview it. I can choose what application I want to open it with on Google Drive. Really, you get to having some big possibilities of how you can interact with your documents, and how you can share them, and how you can move them around. On iCloud Drive, okay, I can download it and I can move it to a new folder. That's where it ends. Okay, so web interface, extremely limited with what I can do with it. Okay, so here you can tell who the clear winner is. Obviously it is Google Drive by a long shot, by a mile, by a stadium, by whatever you want to call it. It just dominates completely. So I won't even go into the whole connection with Google Photos, because that's obviously a win. Also, sharing, obviously a win. Recents, trash, everything essentially in Google Drive is well thought out and has a good file system that you can work with. All right, so this is just the web interface world of it. Let's move on to the file system on your desktop experience. So on a Mac, let's go into Finder. Okay, and from Finder here, you'll see that I have one Google Drive window, same thing on the left, and I'll have my iCloud Drive window here on the right. Okay, and here the file systems kind of come closer to one another, where they're essentially in the same ballpark, because now you have the Finder, which can interact with all of your documents that are in the cloud. Okay. Really the biggest difference between your iCloud Drive on your Mac and your Google Drive on the Mac is that, for instance, let's say if you have two Macs, let's say you have an iMac and you have a MacBook Pro, what iCloud Drive does for you is that it'll actually group your different desktops into specific folders. So for example, this desktop is on my iMac, okay? this is what I have on my iMac desktop. This desktop is what I had on my desktop on my MacBook Air, and this one is what I had on my MacBook Pro. So I kind of consolidated all of them into one desktop kind of folder so that you can have you know, a coherent place for all your desktop items from each device. Not a big deal, because once it places all that stuff into these folders, essentially you'll have one unified desktop across all of your devices. Now, that's sort of like a one-time benefit. You don't have this, you know, benefit moving forward, because essentially all of your desktops become unified. Then when you go to Google Drive in the Finder on your Mac, it essentially will download all of your files, and you can drag and drop files into here and it'll shoot them right up to the cloud. So essentially you get, you know, both of them are on the same level when it comes to the desktop experience when you're within an operating system and not the web browser. With Google Drive, you also get the ability to change what you sync, and you know, maybe you don't want to sync everything because you don't want so much space being taken up on your hard drive, which makes complete sense. And then you can sync selected files and do that kind of thing. With iCloud Drive, you have the option of choosing something called optimized Mac storage, so that when your you know, the full contents of iCloud Drive will be stored on this Mac if you have enough space. Older documents will be stored in iCloud when space is needed. Okay, so even with this, you already have less option, less choice of what you're going to be you know, kind of including and not including. So again, another one for Google Drive, because Google Drive gives you more control over which data goes up to the cloud and which data doesn't go to the cloud. So another thing to kind of consider and see, that, you know, that Apple is falling behind slightly in this kind of category. All right, and the next thing that we can talk about is compatibility with other devices. Okay, so if you have an iPhone, if you have an Android tablet, if you have an iPad, the Google Drive app can be downloaded virtually anywhere. You can download the Google Drive app onto a Windows machine. You can download it to any tablet. So you can essentially access all of your files in Google's ecosystem from anywhere. Hey, when it comes to the Mac, and you know, this is also part of Apple's appeal, everything is closed in their specific ecosystem with their devices. So you know, that's a plus for security, because Apple is very strict on what gets shared from your information, what goes out, what doesn't go out, and you know, you're in control of your data. With Google, not so much, especially with something like Google Photos, where yeah, they're giving you free photo upload, but at the same time, you know, they're tracking what your pictures are of and potentially giving you advertisements and selling, you know, that kind of information to third parties. So you know, give and take, but still Google definitely has the upper hand when it comes to the cloud experience, just because, you know, aside, you know, if you really are concerned about data privacy, you kind of want to lean more towards the Mac side. But when it comes to, you know, flexibility with your documents and cross compatibility, Google hands down is the winner. And the last thing we can look at is pricing. So if we go to iCloud Drive, let's see what storage looks like and what it costs. So let's say buy more storage. So Apple gives you 5 gigabytes for free. Let's see, and then you get 50 gigabytes for 99 cents a month. You get 200 gigabytes for $2.99 a month, and you get 2 terabytes for $9.99 a month. Let's see how that compares to our Google friends. Upgrade storage. Let's try this again here. iCloud upgrade storage. Okay, I'm gonna close that window. We don't need that. Okay, so Google gives you 15 gigabytes of storage for free. It gives you 100 gigabytes for $2 a month, and then it gives you 1 terabyte for $9.99 a month. I'm just going to drag this over here so we can get a better comparison of the two. So for pricing, Apple gives you, they're about the same. Apple actually has a better deal when it comes to the 2 terabytes of storage. For the 2 terabytes of storage, Apple is beating Google on the price war. So I guess the conclusion that I kind of come to is, if you're concerned about data security, you want more bang for your buck as far as how much you're paying. You don't need too much of a kind of flexible ecosystem. Then you can stick with iCloud storage, iCloud Drive, and you'll be okay. And there are also rumors that iCloud Drive will be improving with the new macOS High Sierra and iOS 11. So there's going to be improvements in that field. Okay, and if you don't mind so much about how your data is being shared and used and observed, and you need the flexibility of third-party apps and a great web interface that's already set in place, that's connected with different kinds of plugins and extensions, then Google Drive would be the place for you. And just because you have one cloud, just because there's a Google Drive and there's an iCloud Drive, that doesn't mean that you have to stick to one of them and kind of be religiously tied down. You have the freedom to keep 2 web providers, or sort of cloud storage providers, or 3 for that matter. Don't forget about Dropbox and others like it, or your own cloud where you store your own data. But then you have to kind of get into the whole server field and hosting your own information, which is great too, which we might look into that in the future and kind of talk about that and how those are set up. So that's kind of just like a brief overview of the cloud services that are provided by Apple and Google, and you just have to really think about which one is best for you. And on that note, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you back next time.